You're watching me replace the plug wires. I got a nick on both the 1 and 2 cylinder wires from the alternator belt, getting just a little loose and a little close, and wore out some of that outside coating, so I decided time to change those out. The noise that you're hearing is it's raining outside at the time that I filmed this video, so I'm going to leave it there because I kind of like the way it sounds. So if you noticed already, there's no coil on the tractor normally where you'd see one. I have an aftermarket kit on this machine that puts a more automotive style coil on this. It mounts on the inside of the hood, and you're not seeing it right now. I find it's always best to just get yourself a little drawing of whatever you're going to be doing, because you never quite know if you're going to forget where stuff went, and these things could really save yourself a lot of time. Since I've got the opportunity to just talk about how absolutely amazing these N-Series Ford tractors are, I figured I'd do just that. I've had this one 5 or 6 years now, and I find myself constantly making changes to it and adding little extra contraptions to it. It's just a simple machine. It's a lot of fun to work on. Its parts are available, fairly affordable. The machines themselves can be picked up for a fairly reasonable price in all sorts of stages of mechanical operation. You can get them as dead as you want or as close to running as you want. You don't have to go broke buying one. This is what I would call our backup tractor, is it, where we have another machine that's kind of a little bit more useful for useful work. It's got a 2-stage clutch and whatnot, but this one here is, find it working pretty regular. We use it for a lot of brush hogging and ring dragging and anything that we can use it for that doesn't really have to have the 2-stage clutch on it. These machines will also move a pretty heavy round bale with a 3-point spike attached. You wouldn't really expect them to be able to move that much hay at one time, but they do it. It does it pretty regular. I mean, if you're heading uphill, it'll do a little wheelie for you, but besides that, it'll move bales around just fine. So just like any other scenario, I'd say if you're looking to get into something like this, you need a tractor. You don't want something too large, too expensive. You don't want to go spending an obscene amount of money getting yourself something. If you come across one of these and you're also looking to learn how to tinker a little bit and change some fluids and fix little problems, there's huge source information online for how to maintenance stuff, what to do if something goes wrong. I'd highly recommend looking into one of these. This tractor that you're looking at here is kind of a conglomeration of N-Series Ford tractors, the front half being a 9N, the back half being an 8N, and then there are some 2N parts mixed and mingled in there. One of the earliest modifications that I made to this machine was getting it a 12-volt conversion kit. And you can pick them up on eBay or Amazon or wherever, but you'll find that the consistency of starting and any of the different things that you're going to want to do with it are going to go much, much easier if you've got yourself a 12-volt kit installed. The majority of that kit is just getting rid of the generator, putting an alternator in. You can see the one that's on there now. I have it laying down and off to the side. I have the belt off of it just for better viewing for the plug wire change out, but not a real complicated kit to install. It does simplify the machine quite a bit. It's not something you can see, but one of the other modifications that I've made to this machine is I did give it digital ignition. It does wonders for how it runs. It tends to run smoother, starts better in cold weather. It takes the points out. You remove your points and you put in a small pickup, and it's gonna set the position of the spark and all that. So, but it's a little pricier. I think that was a little over $100, but if you're looking for a machine that you can rely on to run, these are some changes that you can make to kind of make it a dream to start in the winter. There's a blue block in the upper radiator hose. That's where I've housed my coolant temperature sensor. I'm kind of a big fan of keeping an eye on temperature of the coolant, because when you're working a machine and depending on what's going on, if you're brush hogging in deep grass and you're getting seed filling up the radiator, it's always good to know whether your coolant's working a little harder and a little hotter. Lets you know when you want to stop and clear that radiator out a bit. Pulled gauges out of the dash. The only things that I have in there right now are temp sensor, and I also have an oil pressure gauge in there. It's another one. I find oil pressure is pretty important, so those are the two things I monitor when I run it. Since I have the 12-volt conversion, I don't have to worry about the positive and negative amp situation, so I've removed that one. So at this point in the job, it's basically just tidying wires up. I try to tie up all those plug wires as best I can to make sure they're not going to run in any issue catching anything that moves on the front of the block. The belt being the biggest concern, it does tend to, it moves around a little bit. I try not to keep the alternator belt too tight. You're not trying to put a tremendous amount of tension on the water pump. To me, that's pretty important. It'll just wear it out sooner than it needs to, and having it excessively tight doesn't make anything run any better. Take this opportunity to say, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, if you like it, if it's useful to you in any way, consider giving me a like, maybe checking out the channel, seeing if there's any other stuff that you want to check out. I do have a few more tractor videos, work on this, work on a Massey Ferguson from time to time when I get the opportunity. And that's pretty much it. That's what you're looking at for a completed set of wires that will not get caught by the belt again and chew my plug wires up. So appreciate you taking the time to watch, and thanks for checking it out.